Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're diving into the extraordinary life of Jet Li, a martial arts legend and Chinese cinema star who overcame countless challenges to become one of China's most respected actors and an iconic kung fu figure worldwide. When kung fu is mentioned in a conversation, the names of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan inevitably come up. But in China, Jet Li enjoys such high respect. Jet Li is a martial arts champion and a Chinese cinema actor. He played in the series Once Upon a Time in China and in the internationally successful film acclaimed by the critics' hero. Many unprecedented stories surrounding Jet Li's life, including those concerning his wife and daughters. Everything will be revealed in this video. His entry into Wushu. Born on the name of Li Lianjie on April 26, 1963 in Beijing, Jet Li began his training in Wushu at the age of 8 under the direction of the famous Master Wu Bin, presented by his gymnastics teacher. Although he was not immediately a prodigy, Li persevered to the challenges to become an accomplished martial artist. Li says, "It was my coach Wu Bin who helped me overcome obstacles and taught me to never give up. His guidance and patience will always be dear to my heart." Having lost his father at the age of only 2 years, Li found a paternal figure in Wu Bin, who guided him to greatness. Joining the Wushu national team, Li won several championships before deciding to retire from competitive Wushu at the age of 17 to focus on a career in cinema. Jet Li is the youngest of 5 children in his family. At 8 years old, he began studying Wushu, a traditional Chinese martial art, and was quickly recognized for his talent, which led his family to enroll him in a specialized sports school. "I came from a very poor family, and we didn't have enough money for a good school, so the sports school was good. It gave me good food and an opportunity to get out of China." In an interview, Jet Li reflected on his childhood with surprising candor. "A lot of people wonder if I was sent to study Wushu because I was a troublemaker. Does he share by laughing? In fact, I was more of an obedient child. The nonsense came much later in my life. I grew up in a small family. My mother, 2 older sisters, and 2 older brothers. Being the youngest, I never knew my father, who died when I was only 2 years old. My childhood was cautious and sheltered. My mother, always protective, wouldn't allow me to swim or ride a bicycle, considering them too risky. While other children played outside, I stayed indoors, following the instructions of adults, without asking questions. Even when I started school at the age of 8, older than most of my classmates, I was known for my honesty and diligence. The teachers seemed to favor me, perhaps because I always did what I was told. I was even appointed physical education monitor, leading my classmates in exercises every day. In class, I excelled, getting 100% on every test. Yet, music class was my Achilles heel. I had no sense of rhythm. Singing was difficult. My melody always went off track. During the final test, I nervously waited my turn, hoping to maintain my perfect record. The teacher, sensing my discomfort, kindly spared me, citing a sore throat. Reflecting on his formative years, Jet Li pondered. I was a serious student. Homework always came first. Only then could I enjoy dinner or play outside. Despite my diligence, singing remained beyond my reach. His first victory in Wushu. After his first victory in a national competition, Jet Li's life underwent a radical transformation. "I was no longer obliged to go to school at all, not even in the morning," Li remembers. He was asked to move into the sports school dormitory. From then on, Li lived and trained there all week, returning home on Saturday and going back to the dormitory on Sunday evening. Monday morning, training would start again, he explains. The training regimen was extremely demanding. "The only word I can use to describe our training is bitter. It was exceptionally hard," says Li. He trained alongside 13 other students under the direction of a single coach. Each day began at 6 in the morning with a resounding bell. In 90 seconds, we had to get dressed and line up outside on the field, standing at attention, he recalls. After an hour of practice, they could brush their teeth, wash their face, and have breakfast. Practice resumed at 8:30 and lasted until noon. The afternoon offered a brief respite after lunch, though not always relaxing. Our sports school was quite well known in Beijing. It became something that all foreign tourists wanted to include in their visiting program. Explains Lee, often, just as they were falling asleep for a nap, they would be awakened by the announcement, "Tourist group." That was their signal to rush outside and perform for tourists. The evening practice that began at 7:30 p.m. was a rare opportunity to train indoors. The only good thing about evening training was that we could finally train inside the gymnasium, our bed. Mornings and afternoons were spent training outside, as the gymnasium was used by other sports during the day. Evening training lasted until 10 p.m., sometimes 10:30 p.m., totaling about 8 hours of training per day. It was hard, he admits. During this period, China was experiencing severe energy shortages. Power outages were not just common, they were mandatory. Each night of the week, a different district would go without electricity. Explains Lee. For us, it was Friday night. No light meant no training. We loved it. Friday night never came soon enough. One Friday night, as they were enjoying their usual break, the students were shaken by the sound of the dreaded bell. Was that awful bell? Confused, we rushed to the field, recounts Lee. Their coach reprimanded them for their slippers and wrinkled clothes. Weren't you expecting to train tonight? He mocked. They were sent back to put on appropriate shoes and then forced to go around the track in the moonlight as punishment. After a long race, they were ordered to run to the gymnasium, even if it was dark. The coach took out a flashlight, pointed to 13 places, and ordered, "Okay, start." We all took Wushu seriously, but let's just say there wasn't a single one of us who didn't relax when given the opportunity. To you, Lee, in the gymnasium, plunged into darkness, the fear of the sudden beam of the flashlight pushed them to work harder than ever. Unfortunately, during this intense session, Lee twisted his ankle on an unequal surface. Despite the pain, he continued to train, too scared to stop. The next day, his foot was still hurting him, and the pain got worse when it happened to groups of tourists. On Sunday, his foot was so swollen that he couldn't walk anymore. I didn't dare to talk about it, Lee said. Complaining of injuries only resulted in more painful exercises. Whatever the reason you found to avoid training, the coach was ready with 10 alternatives to counter you. He explains. By Monday, severely limping, Lee was ready to do exercises for the upper body. Another instructor noticed a man, after seeing his swollen foot, advised the coach to send Lee to the hospital. X-rays revealed a cracked bone. I had practiced with a broken foot for 2 days because I had been too scared to tell anyone about it, he says, laughing. Despite the injury, he had no respite from Wushu. An older classmate carried him onto the field every day where he practiced arm movements until his leg healed. This experience, though hard, shaped the resilience and dedication that would later define Jet Li's illustrious career. Who formed the legendary Jet Li? The vast majority of Jet Li's martial arts career was under the watchful eye of Li Zhongfeng, a renowned kung fu master, famous Wushu coach, and Qigong practitioner. Over the course of his illustrious career, Li Zhongfeng trained about 10,000 students, Jet Li being one of his most eminent students. Jet Li was trained under the direction of Li Zhongfeng and his co-coach Wu Bin during his 10 years with the Beijing Wushu team. Li Zhongfeng hired a lot of his top students, saying, Jet Li was a perfect student, not only in terms of power and flexibility, but especially in terms of learning ability. He had great coordination, and his movements were very graceful. Interesting to note, Li Junfeng is somewhat a star of martial arts films himself, having played in the 1982 film Wu Linji and 3 other films. He also choreographed action scenes and appeared in Learning Wushu, a television show well away from fly fishing. Besides Jet Li, his most famous student is arguably Ge Chunyan, master of the Bagua style, 5-time national champion, and the coach of superstar Zhang Zi for a role in The Grandmaster. Ironically, Li Zhongfeng considers Ge as his best student, even going so far as to prefer Jet Li to his eyes. That's right, Li Zhongfeng is so talented that he has really trained someone who considers him better than Jet Li. Do you remember Wu Bin, the other coach mentioned earlier? It turns out that Wu Bin is probably an even more formidable figure than Li Zhongfeng. According to Kung Fu magazine, the man known as Coach Wu is not a simple coach. This great master of the ninth degree is considered the father of modern Wushu and has played an essential role in the shaping of the sport over the decades. It was Coach Wu who started training a young Jet Li, 8 years old, in 1971, and who founded the famous Wushu team from Beijing, propelling Li under the spotlights. Wu Bin believes that 8 years is the ideal age to start Wushu training, although he started at 19, and is known to accept students as old as 22 if he sees potential. He is considered an extremely strict but very effective coach, with a long list of renowned athletes and Wushu masters to his credit. Without surprise, he has held many positions in committees and boards linked to Wushu over the years, and he shows no signs of slowing down. In 2018, Master Wu published 18 books on the theme of Wushu. These distinctions include the presidency of the Institute of Wushu in Beijing, a management position with the Wushu team in Beijing, and leading positions within the Chinese Association of Wushu, the Asian Federation of Wushu, the International Federation of Wushu, and the World Federation of Martial Arts. Despite these achievements, Wu Bin appreciates martial arts films and, in a funny way, prefers Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan's films to those of his famous student Jet Li. The strict discipline imposed by Wu Bin played a crucial role. Jet Li clearly remembers the intense regime. What my teammates did once during a training session, I did it 3 times, to get the most out of my time. I even worked out on Sundays when everyone was resting. Despite his unwavering commitment, Li found his coach's approach particularly harsh. My coach, however, didn't seem to appreciate my efforts. He was always kind and patient when explaining the essentials of all the movements to my teammates and showing them where they were wrong. When he saw they were too tired, he advised them to take a break. But he seemed to be a completely different person when he talked to me. Often he would throw at me, "Do you think that's the correct movement? How is it that the more you train, the worse you become?" And so on. Initially, Lee struggled with the harsh treatment. To be honest, I didn't really like the way he treated me, he admitted. However, with time and reflection, he understood the method behind his coach's rigor. Whenever he took on a new trainee, the first thing he did was to get to know their character, so he could adapt to it. Seeing that I was a little ambitious and proved to be a volunteer trainee, he applied the rigorous training method to me. It was described by him as, "You have to hit a rattling drum with a heavy hammer." This unique approach contributed to forge the discipline and skills that would propel Jet Li to international glory, underlining profound impact of Wu Bin's adapted training methods on his journey to greatness. The Shaolin Temple. The film. In 1973, the legendary Bruce Lee died in mysterious circumstances, plunging China, America, and the rest of the film world in shock. The following year, an 11-year-old Jet Li gave a kung fu demonstration in Hong Kong when a film producer approached him. The producer asked Lee how he would feel about becoming the next Bruce Lee. Recalling this encounter years later, in 2003, Lee remembers when a movie studio producer spoke to me. "Hi, kid, when you grow up, do you want to become an action star?" I said, "Okay, why not?" So, from that moment on, every year, the producer would come to see me. He would say, "Okay, you're still a little boy. You can't make a movie, I want to wait for you." Lee greatly admired Bruce Lee, but as a young boy, he couldn't imagine his name being mentioned alongside the martial arts legend. I remember finding him very talented, a very talented actor and martial artist, says Lee, but I didn't know how to make a movie. I didn't know how to become that. I didn't think about it that deeply. I was just 11 years old. At the age of 17, the producer decided he was ready to make his feature film debut. He was cast in Shaolin Temple, the first in a series of films that would establish him as a star in China. Lee's high profile in Wushu did not go unnoticed by kung fu film directors. The director Chong H-Yen, who had spotted him at the national championships while looking for actors for Shaolin Temple, was particularly struck by his talent. At the age of 18, Lee accepted the role of Ger Yuan, a monk whose father had been killed by the emperor's nephew. Ger Yuan then defended the Shaolin Temple against the emperor's corrupt troops. To prepare for the role, Lee consulted acting coaches, including his sister, who was a student director at the Chinese Institute of Drama. He also learned to ride a horse in 3 days. However, His main concern was to present authentic martial arts without artifice. Fortunately, the director Chang shared this vision. He traveled all over China, attending many tournaments in Wushu to find the right talents for the film. "I was lucky," commented Chang, "because this group of kung fu masters each had their characteristics and outward appearance, and after just a little instruction, they could master their role in an extraordinary way." The film was nominated for many great masters and champions of China, including Sun Jiangwei, Hu Jiankong Yu Ai, Du Xuanyang, Lu Huoyang, Yu Chunwei, Pan Qingfu, Ma Xinda, Wang Changkai, and Ji Chunhua. "One can say that each master did very well," declared Chang. Master Yu Chunwei, an expert in double-wielding drunken sword and shark fin sword combat, gave an excellent performance with the help of props specially designed for him. The head coach, Yu Hai, demonstrated his superb techniques in mantis boxing, while the masters, Pan Qingfu and Ji Chunhua, respectively showed their famous kina, barehanded, and the box of the falcon's leg. They are all traditional kung fu, and those who have this kind of knowledge will be able to recognize it. Chang's presence reassured Li about the authenticity, and few special effects were used in the film. "We did not use trampolines because the masters were able to jump to great heights," Chang explained. "We didn't use rapid movements because their actions were already very fast and their patterns clear. When filming their fights, I did my best to record the perfection and authenticity of the actions so that viewers could see their fighting art in a continuous manner." For example, a 2.5-turn tour was made by Li Lianjie in the open air. I should have been able to film it in slow motion, but I was able to use normal speed to film this very difficult 900-degree turn. Shaolin Temple was in production for 3 years and cost about 10 million Hong Kong dollars. In addition to the interiors made in the studio Kowloon, the exterior locations included the Yellow River, the Dragon Court in the former capital Kaifeng, the Longmen Caves in the city of Luoyang, and various other provinces. The costumes were based on historical archives and 18 types of weapons recorded in old martial arts books featured in the film. The result was instant celebrity for Jet Li and a huge resurgence of interest in the Shaolin Temple. People began flocking to the actual temple in Hainan province. Li recalls, "When they saw Shaolin Temple, many students began walking to the real Shaolin, wanting to learn kung fu." The government was very concerned. They broadcast programs saying to everyone that today the Shaolin Temple is not as it appears in the film. The film forever transformed the poor and dilapidated temple into one of China's largest tourist attractions today. Chinese and foreigners flocked to Hunan to visit and learn Wushu in one of the largest commercial schools in the village, Tagu, with 3,000 students. President Richard Nixon asked him to be his bodyguard. The year 1974 turned out to be a tough year for Jet Li. At only 11 years old, he not only attracted the attention of Chinese cinema studios, but he also had the opportunity to perform in front of the American president. Li, with the Chinese national team of Wushu, was invited to the White House to present their skills to President Richard Nixon. It was shortly before Nixon's term ended because of the Watergate scandal. Nixon, who was not very popular at the time, would have been so impressed by Li's kung fu skills that he would have made fun of him by offering him a job. According to We Are the Mighty, the president asked Li if he would consider becoming his bodyguard once he was old enough. "Young man, your kung fu is very impressive," Nixon would have said. "What would you say about becoming my bodyguard when you grow up?" Li's answer, marked by remarkable loyalty and patriotism, astonished those present. "No, I don't want to protect an individual," he would have said. "When I grow up, I want to defend my billions of Chinese compatriots." The room fell into silence, a moment broken by the Secretary of State of the time, Henry Kissinger, who would have joked, "My God, such a young boy, and he already speaks like a diplomat." This event symbolized a thaw in the long-standing hostility between China and the United States. However, some reports suggest that the tour of the Chinese team from Wushu in America was hindered by backstage maneuvers. Jet Li suspects that the American government has put microphones in his hotel room. During a frank interview in 2003 with Talk Asia, Jet Li revealed a shocking suspicion during his first visit to the United States. When asked if the rumors according to which his hotel room was being listened to were true, Li confirmed this disturbing speculation. The Nixon administration, famous for spying on its political rivals with hidden cameras, had made the Chinese government cautious about sending the Wushu team to America. They warned the team members to remain vigilant about their conversations, even in their hotel rooms. "It's true," said Li. "At that time, China and America had just begun a relationship between the two countries. It's so funny. When I went there, I wanted to see if they had a microphone or not. So in New York, in a big hotel, I talked to the mirror." Li amusingly mentioned out loud that he wanted chocolate and ice cream. To his great surprise and amusement, the treats he had wished for in his private quarters appeared as if by magic. The next day, I opened the door. Did he continue? Chocolate, ice cream, banana, everything was on my table. Li also recounted this incident when he returned to the United States in 2001 to promote his science fiction action film, The One. The admirable career of Jet Li is something that many people already know, but the personal life of the actor and his close relationships always arouse the curiosity of fans of Chinese action and martial arts films. Jet Li's first marriage was not out of love. The first marriage of Jet Li with Wang Qiyuan, a teammate of the Chinese national team of Wushu, who also became a martial arts actress, was not born of love but a sense of duty. The two had known each other since childhood, and their long-standing friendship took an unexpected turn during the filming of martial arts of Shaolin. During production, Li fractured his leg and was deeply touched by Qiu Yan's constant support throughout his recovery. Feeling indebted to her and acknowledging her family's wealth compared to his own poverty, Li felt it was right to make his proposal. Additionally, Jet Li married the actress because his grandmother, who was a medium, told him that the marriage would bring him luck. "My family was poor. Her family was rich," explained Li. "She often took care of me. That's how it happened. I didn't know what love was. In terms of emotions invested, she was perhaps giving 90% or 80%. Me at most. I still didn't understand. When we separated, we were really like friends. When Qiu Yan remarried in 2005, Li gave her $50,000, thus highlighting the friendly nature of their separation. The hidden truth about Jet Li's current wife. Meeting Jet Li is impressive, and the same can be said about his wife, Nina Li Chi, although she remains relatively unknown in the United States. Recently brought to light after Jet Li shared photos of her on his Instagram, Nina Li Chi had a successful career before settling down with Li. Nina Li Chi is much more than Jet Li's wife. Although she is not widely recognized in the United States, she has been an important figure in Chinese cinema. Acting is a family tradition, her father having been an actor before her. However, her journey has not been without challenges. According to Hong Kong Cinemagic, Nina Li had to face severe criticism from Hong Kong fans, who mocked her Singaporean accent in Cantonese. Despite this, she persevered and made a name for herself. During the 1950s, Nina Li Chi captivated the public with her charm, an image for which she became famous, as noted by The Star. Her IMDb page lists more than 30 films in which she acted from 1982 until her retirement a decade later. It was her acting career that led her to meet Jet Li. The couple met on the set of Dragon Fight in 1989, but they only got married in 1999 and then had 2 daughters together. Interestingly, when Nina Li Chi and Jet Li met for the first time in 1989, they were still married to another Chinese actress, Wang Qiyuan. Their meeting marked the beginning of a new chapter in their respective lives, leading to a lasting partnership on screen and in life. Reflecting on this period in an interview, Jet Li stated, "When I was young, there was a girl who loved me and I thought I loved her too. But after meeting Nina, I knew it was true love, a love for which I would give up glory and fortune, and even for which I would die. Every day was filled with passion." Jet Li's daughters. The actor Jet Li has 4 daughters from 2 different marriages. His eldest daughters, Silly and Taimalai, are from his 3-year marriage to Chinese actress Wang Qiyan. Jet Li and Nina Li got married and welcomed 2 daughters together. Jane Li was born in 2000, followed by Jada Li in 2002. As Jet Li's career slowed, his younger daughters grew up and were ready to make their mark on the world. Nina Li Chi, Jet Li's second wife and the mother of his 3rd and 4th daughters, took proactive measures from the start to ensure that her children excelled academically. She hired an early learning specialist, allowing her daughters to achieve exceptional academic performance from the age of 6 and 9 months, respectively. In a strategic decision for her daughter's education, Jet Li renounced his American citizenship to become a citizen of Singapore. Explaining his decision at the Shanghai International Film Festival, Jet Li shared that he had considered the educational systems of several countries, including Australia and Switzerland, before choosing Singapore. This decision guaranteed that his daughters could receive a high-quality education while allowing him to continue his work without worry. Jet Li's third daughter, Jane, is not only the child of a world superstar, but also a brilliant and accomplished young woman. At the age of 19, this Harvard graduate received a rare and prestigious invitation to participate in the debutante ball, an exclusive event known as one of the most important debutante balls in the world. This event brings together young women from elitist families in the field of entertainment, business, and politics, offering unique opportunities for fundraising, networking, and fashion and couture presentations for great designers. Jane made a remarkable appearance at the 2019 Ball de Debutantes, dressed in a scarlet red Dior dress with a square neckline and a cape. She joined a prestigious list of participants, including Shania Kapoor, daughter of actor and producer Bollywood Sanjay Kapoor, Kayla Rockefeller, the famous Rockefeller family, and Princess Maria Carolina de Bourbon de Sicily. In parallel to her success at Harvard, where she distinguished herself academically and played leadership roles such as president of the Harvard Radcliffe Asian American Association and member of the first-year social committee, the presence of Jane Li at such a prestigious event underlines her status of rising personality in the elitist circles. During this time, Jet Li's youngest daughter, Jada Li, uses her platform to raise awareness of mental health issues. As Mothership highlights, Jada openly shared her struggles against anxiety and depression, particularly exacerbated during the COVID-19 pandemic. Through sincere publications on social media, she managed to connect with her subscribers, reassuring them that they are not alone in their fight against the challenges of mental health. Jet Li's return to Hollywood after a decade of hiatus was motivated by a sincere conversation with his 15-year-old daughter, Jada Li, about her role in Mulan's real-life adaptation. Initially hesitant about the project, Jet Li told in an interview with Extra Butter how Jada asked him 3 pressing questions that changed his perspective. First, Jada asked her father if he was proud to represent Chinese culture and if the film was in line with their shared values, to which Jet responded affirmatively. Second, she asked if financial need was motivating his decision, which Jet rejected. Finally, demonstrating wisdom beyond her years, Jada simply asked if Jet would agree to do the film for her, a request he could not refuse. Although Jet Li embraced the opportunity for his daughter's sake, the filming process posed considerable challenges for the seasoned actor. Jet had trouble with the overwhelming costumes and mastered the required dialogue. Reflecting on his difficulties with learning English, Jet expressed his gratitude to his dialogue coach for having assisted him throughout the production. Despite his challenges, Jet Li's dedication and expertise contributed significantly to the film, ultimately creating a project that he and his daughter could be proud of. Son retour sur grand écran souligne son engagement à promouvoir la culture chinoise et à laisser une empreinte durable sur le public mondial. Devenir philanthrope. Surviving the tsunami was a turning point for Jet Li, profoundly changing his perspective on life. Following this disaster, he experienced a profound revelation and decided to devote himself to philanthropy after being profoundly affected by the compassion shown to him and his family by strangers. Without the courageous intervention of 4 men who came to his rescue after his call for help, his 2 youngest daughters might not have survived. The experience of surviving the chaos and witnessing the devastation caused by this natural disaster has changed me forever. Did he share with Alliance? During the recovery period in Maldives, I was deeply moved by the will of all to mobilize and help each other, regardless of where others came from or their nationality. This made me wonder if we could maintain this spirit and transcend traditional borders to help humanity as a whole. Jet Li once interrupted his career to focus on the well-being of his daughter, Cadet, during her fight against depression. Reflecting on this difficult period, he explained, "After the tsunami in the Indian Ocean in 2004, I put aside my film career to focus on the Wan Foundation. This foundation, named after his charitable work, became his main priority as he dedicated himself to social welfare, while his wife took on the crucial role of caring for their daughter. He revealed that Jada had begun suffering from depression as early as age 7, a condition he initially misunderstood. By age 13, her condition had worsened, leaving him feeling helpless and unable to communicate with her. She had reached the point of feeling ready to give up on life at any moment, and I didn't know how to connect with her, he regretted. I wanted to find a moment to tell her, "I'm sorry, my child. I was wrong. I devoted all my time to the world and forgot to take care of you. I didn't know how to be a good father. Could I learn to be one again?" Malgré son statut de superstar international, connu pour des films emblématiques comme la série Il était une fois en Chine, 1991 à 1997, et les films Fong Se-yuk, 1993, Jelly se sentait impuissant car sa renommée et sa fortune n'avaient aucune influence sur sa fille. Leur chemin vers la guérison a commencé lorsqu'il a pris conscience de sa condition. Il l'a invitée à critiquer ses défauts et elle a franchement souligné son égocentrisme et son ego. J'étais profondément blessé à l'époque, mais je lui en suis plus tard reconnaissant, a-t-il admis. À l'époque, je ne considérais pas les sentiments des autres et elle m'a réveillé. Together, they undertook a 3-month transformative exploration in Tibetan Buddhist studies, which played a role in their progressive healing. However, Jet Li emphasized that religion was not the only solution, but rather one of the ways that helped them understand the underlying problems. Through this journey, Jet Li has learned valuable lessons about paternity and the importance of personal growth, motivated by her deep love for her daughter and her commitment to being there for her in every way possible. Inspired by his thoughts, Jet Li founded his foundation. Reflecting on his decision, he wrote in an article for Newsweek, "I realized that all the money and power in the world could not have saved me from water. That night, I decided that I could not wait for my retirement. I had to act immediately." This test brought him clarity in his life, pushing him to review his priorities. During the first 41 years of my life, I focused on Jet Li, wanting to prove that I was special, wanting to prove that I was a star. Today, in 2023, Jet Li remains a famous figure in Chinese cinema with an impressive net worth of $265 million. Despite his considerable fortune, Jet Li maintains his humility and continues to support various charitable causes, which has earned him the prestigious role of International Goodwill Ambassador for the Red Cross. Jet Li's situation now. Rumors about Jet Li's health made a sensation on the internet in 2018, when a photo of the seemingly fragile actor went viral, prompting his manager to clarify the situation. The photo in question was taken in unfavorable lighting and at an unsatisfactory angle during a quick shot with a fan. "It's only one photo, and people draw too many conclusions from it," explained his representative. "If you took me at the wrong time, I could also look fragile," he added. Fans speculated that Jet Li's appearance was related to his hyperthyroidism, a diagnosis made in 2010. Although he manages it with medication, concerns about his health persist. In 2016, Jet Li addressed the concerns, rejecting rumors that he might end up in a wheelchair. "There are rumors circulating online that I will end up in a wheelchair," he said. "Even my friends ask me how I am." He joked, mentioning that a wheelchair company might be behind the rumors to increase their sales, reassuring everyone that his health was stable and that there was nothing to fear. Despite these rumors, Jet Li appeared strong and capable in behind-the-scenes footage from a short film in 2017. Disney also showed confidence in his health by choosing him for their next live-action remake of Mulan. At the age of 58, Jet Li slowed down his film career due to physical demands, acknowledging that his body could no longer withstand the rigors necessary for action films. In addition, his growing commitment to Buddhism moved his attention to charitable works rather than pursuing money or action roles. Reflecting on his experiences and health challenges, Jet Li has embraced humility and compassion. During public events, despite the potential fatigue, he makes efforts to respond to the photo and signature requests of fans. Asked about the price it costs him, he replied that making others happy with simple gestures is a form of practice of compassion and generosity, in accordance with his Buddhist principles. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jet Li's extraordinary journey, don't forget to subscribe, share, and hit that like button to support the channel. Your engagement helps us bring more legend stories to life. Comment below which martial arts icon you'd like to see featured next. turn on notifications so you never miss our upcoming videos on the greatest legends in martial arts history. Until next time,